Have you ever hit six figures and still felt broke? Like nothing actually changed? You're not crazy, and you're not bad with money. The math was already broken before you spent a dollar. A family earning $100,000 a year can end up with less real monthly cash than a family earning $40,000. Not because of bad decisions, because of the pediatrician bill, the daycare invoice, the benefits cliff that punishes every dollar of the climb. I'm going to show you exactly where every dollar of that $100,000 goes, line by line. And before this video is over, I'll show you one specific number about the second income in a household that will completely change how you think about what that paycheck is actually worth. $100,000 used to mean security. That was a different economy. The numbers stayed the same. Everything around it moved. To understand why, you need to see what your salary is actually competing against now, because it's not the same fight it was 20 years ago. There's a concept I want to name, because once you have the name, the whole picture clicks into place. The cost of participation. It's not your rent, your groceries, or your car payment in isolation. It's the total minimum you have to spend just to hold a job, raise children, and remain a functioning adult in today's economy. The involuntary infrastructure of modern life. In 1963, that infrastructure was cheap enough that one income could cover most of it. The economist who designed America's original poverty line, Molly Orshansky, built her formula on the observation that families spent about a third of their income on food. Multiply the minimum food budget by 3, and you had a poverty threshold. That math made sense in 1963. Housing was affordable. Healthcare cost almost nothing. Childcare wasn't a market, it was a neighbor. Food at home is now 5 to 7% of household spending, according to Bureau of Labor Statistics consumer expenditure data. If Orshansky's formula were updated to reflect today's spending proportions, her multiplier of 3 would become 16. By that logic, the poverty line for a family of 4 wouldn't be $31,200. It would be closer to $140,000. We'll get to that number in a moment. But first, the tax hit most people never actually calculate. Here's how the compression actually works. Because there are two forces eating your salary simultaneously from opposite ends. The first is taxes. Before you touch a dollar of your $100,000, the government takes its share. For a family of 4 filing jointly, the effective federal income tax rate, after the standard deduction and child tax credits, lands at roughly 4%. FICA, Social Security, and Medicare takes another 7.65%. Add a state income tax, which most states have, and you're losing roughly 14% before a single bill gets paid. $86,000. That may sound manageable. It isn't, because taxes are only the first cut. Now watch the second force hit from below. The official inflation numbers say your purchasing power has held up reasonably well. The problem is, those numbers measure the average of everything, including things that got cheaper. What they undercount is the specific costs that have no substitute. 3 data points, all publicly verifiable. Your salary doubled. The bill tripled. In healthcare, it multiplied by 14. The official number isn't lying. It's just measuring a different thing than the cost of your life. So here's the question I want you to actually try to answer before I give you the number. What do you think it costs for a family of 4? No vacations, no streaming subscriptions, no dinners out, just to show up to work and raise 2 kids in America. Hold a number in your head. Portfolio manager and researcher Michael Green published a detailed breakdown of this exact question in late 2025 in a piece called "My Life is a Lie: How a Broken Benchmark Quietly Broke America." He built a basic needs budget using conservative national average data. Only the costs he called participation tickets. The things you must pay to function. Remember that childcare number from a moment ago? $32,773. Now watch where it sits inside everything else. Housing, $23,000. Transportation, another $14,800. You haven't fed anyone yet, and you've already spent $70,000. Now add food at $14,700, healthcare at $10,500. And the rest of it, insurance, clothing, phone, internet. The things you literally cannot opt out of. Another $21,800. Add it all up, and the required net income is $118,000. Gross it up for taxes, and you land at $136,500, just to not be in crisis. No vacation, no retirement contribution beyond the minimum, no margin. Remember what Orshansky said she was measuring? Too little. A floor, not a ceiling. Green's analysis suggests the real crisis threshold is closer to $136,500. The Economic Policy Institute's Family Budget Calculator puts a similar family's number in the same range. The official poverty line is $31,200. We have been measuring starvation and calling it poverty. But here's where it gets worse. Because the damage isn't just that $100,000 isn't enough. It's that the climb from nothing to $100,000 is specifically designed to punish you for trying. The trap has a name. Almost nobody talks about it plainly. The benefits cliff. Green calls it the valley of death. Our entire safety net is designed to catch people at the bottom. What it also does, unintentionally but reliably, is build a wall in the middle that punishes every dollar of progress. Picture a lab rat in a maze. Every time it moves toward the cheese, toward self-sufficiency, there's a toll gate, not a small one, a gate that costs more than the rat earned by moving forward. The rat works harder, reaches the next chamber. The cheese is still one room ahead, and the new toll just doubled. Scientists call this a behavioral trap. In finance, we call it income mobility. The rat, for the record, has 2 kids in daycare and a 401k it can't afford to fund. Here is what this looks like in dollar terms, using Green's analysis of a family in New Jersey. The exact thresholds vary by state, family size, and which benefits a family claims. But the structural pattern is consistent. At $35,000 a year, you are struggling, no question. But you have Medicaid covering your health care. You have SNAP putting roughly $700 a month toward groceries. You have childcare subsidies keeping daycare affordable. The government has built you a floor. It is not comfortable, but it holds. Now you get a raise, $45,000. That should be good news. But in this range, Medicaid starts to phase out. Suddenly you're paying premiums, deductibles, co-pays. The new healthcare costs can hit $10,000 a year. Your $10,000 raise just became a net loss. You earned more and kept less. Keep climbing, $65,000. Childcare subsidies start disappearing. $32,000 in childcare lands on a budget that just lost its safety net. That $20,000 raise didn't even cover half the subsidy you lost. And at $100,000, you pay full price for everything. Full market healthcare, and full market childcare, full taxes, and no credits coming back. Your take home is roughly $85,000, and after the bills the government used to help cover, your net monthly cash is below what the family at $40,000 takes home. For every dollar you earn climbing from $40,000 to $100,000, the system confiscates between 70 and 100 cents back. No rational person would voluntarily take that trade, but most people can't see the math clearly enough to know they're taking it. Here's the full side-by-side. Family A earns $40,000. They qualify for Medicaid, SNAP food benefits, and childcare subsidies. And refundable tax credits mean the government also sends them money back at tax time. They struggle, but the state has built them a floor. Family B earns $100,000, no Medicaid, no SNAP, no childcare subsidy, no refunded credits. They pay full market rate for everything the system used to cover, and they do it on a take-home that's already been compressed by taxes. By every conventional measure. Solidly middle class. 2 lines in this table tell the whole story. Healthcare. Family A pays $0. Medicaid covers it. Family B pays $10,567 out of pocket. Same family size, same doctors, $10,000 difference because one family earns too much for help. Now look at childcare. Family A, $2,400 a year, subsidized. Family B, $32,773. Same kids, same daycare, $30,000 apart. Not because the service changed, because the subsidy disappeared. Those 2 lines alone, healthcare and childcare, account for a $40,000 swing on $60,000 of additional income. Family B earned $60,000 more. They earned every dollar of it. But at the end of the month, they have $700 less in the checking account. $60,000 of additional labor bought them less than nothing. Not in theory, in actual monthly cash. Family A, poor by most measures, collecting food benefits, on government health care, ends the month ahead of the family society calls successful. The system didn't just fail to reward the climb, it penalized it. This is not a fringe case. This is the mechanism operating across American households, earning your way off a subsidy faster than your wages rise to replace it. And then the second trap closes in, the one that works from the inside out. When income rises, spending adapts to match it. A better apartment, a better car, a better version of everything. The psychology research on this is unambiguous. Humans normalize new income within a few months. The participation costs rise to meet you. The lifestyle fills the rest. And the savings rate stays flat. And then the second paycheck arrives. which is supposed to fix it and almost doesn't. Here's that number I promised you at the start. In a two-income household, the assumption is that the second paycheck is additive, that it adds to the family's financial cushion. That assumption is so universal, so unquestioned, that almost nobody runs the actual math before making the decision. So let's run it. Parent 2 earns $52,000. Write that number down if you have to. Now, subtract what it costs to earn it. One thing to notice on that tax line, the second income gets taxed harder than you'd expect, because it stacks on top of the first earner's salary, so it's taxed at a higher rate from $1. The net annual loss from the second income is $8,300. Negative $700 a month. For every hour the second earner works, the household loses $4. Not earns. Loses. The second earner is not working for vacation. They are working to pay the stranger watching their children so they can go to work. Elizabeth Warren and Amelia Warren Tyagi documented this dynamic in their research, The Two-Income Trap, finding that two-income families were actually more financially fragile than single-income families from a generation earlier, because the second income created fixed costs, not flexibility. The second paycheck isn't income. It's the fee for permission to work. You did everything right. You got the degree. You did the work. You earned the raise. You hit the number that society told you would feel like a rival. And it doesn't feel like anything, does it? Or worse, it feels like fraud. Like everyone else cracked a code you haven't found yet. They haven't. The code doesn't exist. When I ran this math on my own salary, the first time I crossed six figures, my effective hourly rate after taxes came out to $39, before I'd counted a single dollar of commuting, professional development, or work expenses. $100,000 is not a threshold of comfort anymore. It is the entrance to a bracket where you earn too much to qualify for help, and not quite enough to stop needing it. You are not failing the system. The system is failing you. And there are specific things you can do about it. None of this changes the system. But it changes how the system hits you, if you adjust for it deliberately rather than accidentally. Step 1. Map your cost of participation. List every fixed, non-negotiable expense that exists solely because you are employed. Childcare, a second vehicle, commuting, work clothing, professional development, convenience food bought because there's no time to cook. For the median two-income household, this figure runs between $35,000 and $50,000 a year per Bureau of Labor Statistics consumer expenditure data. Once you can see the full number, you can start asking which costs can be reduced, renegotiated, or restructured. You cannot negotiate with costs you haven't named. Step 2. Calculate your real take-home rate, not your salary. Stop anchoring on your gross salary. Sit down tonight and calculate your actual effective hourly rate after taxes, commuting costs, childcare, and required work expenses. Most $100,000 earners, when they do this honestly, find they're working for an effective rate somewhere between $22 and $35 an hour. That reframes every financial decision you make. The bucket with the hole in the bottom does not fill faster by running more water through it. You find the hole first. Step 3. Build the savings rate before lifestyle fills the gap. The national savings rate is 3.6% according to the Bureau of Economic Analysis. That is not a savings strategy. It is what happens when people save whatever is left after spending. Invert the order completely. Pay yourself first, automatically, the day the paycheck arrives, before any discretionary spending has a chance to expand. At 15% savings on a $100,000 salary, you are putting away $15,000 a year. Over 25 years at a 7% average return, that is approximately $950,000. At 3.6%, it's $228,000. Build the savings rate before the lifestyle expands. That is the only lever in this equation you fully control. $100,000 is not what it used to be. It was never what it felt like. Taxes compress it from above. The cost of the participation erodes it from below. The benefits cliff punishes every step of the climb. The second paycheck funds its own infrastructure. The savings rate stays flat because lifestyle fills every gap. And the retirement account waiting at the end, built on a 3.6% savings rate on whatever the lifestyle left behind, is built on the same broken math that said $31,000 a year isn't poverty. The leak has a name. The math has been running this whole time. You just weren't shown where to look. Now you have been. Now you stop it. Here's what I want you to do right now, before you open another tab. Pause this video. Open a notes app or a spreadsheet. Add up everything you spend specifically because you have a job: childcare, commuting, work clothing, convenience meals, all of it. That's your cost of participation. Come back and drop that number in the comments, not your salary, the real number. If this changed how you think about your income, subscribe. This is what we do here. We run the math nobody else bothers to show you, and we show you exactly what it means for your money. I'm Cole. This is the Money Professor. See you in the next one.